Hi guys, welcome to the channel. So we're all going to have good luck today as we follow along with the Ladybug Watercolor because everybody knows ladybugs are good luck. I saw one the other day out on the plants, took some pictures, and seeing that made me want to paint one. So I had a few scraps of arches laying around and decided to round the corners and do some small little artworks on those pieces so they don't go to waste. So I have a few more that I'll probably end up doing some little pieces on. Not sure what we'll paint on them yet, but use them. They're all kind of around playing card size, give or take. This one's a little bit bigger than the average playing card, but it's about that size. So before I started working on this ladybug, I was looking through some pieces of artwork that are half done and need to be finished. A lot of them are sitting there because, you get to that stage where it's like halfway or maybe even 1/3 of it in there, and you let the fear get to you. The fear that, they're not going to be good enough. Um, and I don't know, I just haven't finished them. So you got to work up the courage, or that excitement is kind of gone and they're in that stage that's tough to get through, to get over that hump. And even though, every piece goes through that ugly stage, you just have to trust the process. You have to trust it and push through. I think it's universal for most artists, the fear of failure, whether it's fear of the blank page, or worrying that our artwork isn't good enough, or anxieties that our ideas aren't creative or cool enough. I think we all face these challenges. Um, you know, Starting a new piece can be just as intimidating. The blank page stares at you, full of possibilities, but also potential failures. And it's easy to get caught up in self-doubt and think, what if this isn't good enough? What if people don't like it? Or you sit there and spin your wheels getting ideas on Pinterest or Instagram, and then start comparing yourself to countless posted artworks, and then nothing ends up getting done sometimes on those days if you let yourself spin your wheels long enough. Um, so I often find myself with these thoughts, especially when considering, you know, even when considering to start a YouTube channel. There's, you know, always going to be somebody more talented. There's always going to be somebody that has more knowledge or more to say. But I think what I've learned and what I've decided is that everybody faces these fears. It's part of the journey. And you just have to know that, you know, you're different than everybody else, and you've got to trust that that's what sets you apart. Art is a process, and what we see in galleries and museums, are the results of years of practice and failures and learning. And don't forget that everything you see online is not necessarily reality. You know, Masterpieces are born out of countless, paintings and sleepless nights. And all we see is the end result, not all the struggles that are behind it. So I think we all just need to understand that even if we do fail, even if, you start a piece and it utterly fails, it's not the end. It's just one more step towards in growth and learning, just like riding a bike. You just got to accept that failing is part of the process and embrace those mistakes because they teach us lessons, And so I try to look at every piece now and look at it in a positive way, whether I like it, I'm really excited about it or not, and ask myself, what could I have done better? What is really good about it? What did I do really well? Or went smooth? What, dissect all the wins and losses on each of the piece so that, you'll avoid some of these mistakes in the future. So I really try now to focus on the progress and not perfection as much. I think it's more important, instead of, all these perfect pieces, or because you're never going to have the perfect pieces, but more pieces that you've learned from, that you can see they get better and better, and you can see that progression as you look back through those pieces, and taking those small risks every day, whether it's trying a new technique or sharing your work online. Each step builds confidence, and, growth comes from taking these risks and pushing those boundaries. Remember, fear of failure, is just an emotion, and it only has power if we give into it. You can acknowledge it, but don't let it stop you. Remember, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I love that quote. I think it's Henry Ford, I think. So if you want to improve, you've got to keep creating, no matter how daunting it feels, because you never know who might be inspired by your journey. And so that's, part of the reason it's the new channel, but it's part of the reason why I started the channel. I want, hopefully, my art journey can be inspiring to somebody out there. And so here's to embracing our fears and learning from our failures and continuing to create. Your art is definitely worth sharing, and so are you. So thanks for joining me today. I'm going to probably put some music on and let you guys continue to watch the ladybug painting. So right now we've started, I am using a little bit, I think mostly Daniel Smith on this one. I think I have a little Cotman palette as well, which is like a portrait palette. But I think it's mostly Daniel Smith. This piece was pretty cool. I think it came out pretty good in the end, as far as pretty realistic. I was really challenging myself on this one with the highlights on the back of the shell, in the black part and in the red and white part. Like the whole shadow kind of goes through, all of those colors on the back. And so as long as I've done watercolor, it's still interesting. You still got to make those choices and almost plan out those choices in the beginning of how you're going to accomplish you making those highlights, whether you're going to do wet on wet or start it out wet on wet and then, continue doing layers and kind of fade it in that way, and, learn different things on every piece. And this one was interesting. I think it came out pretty cool. I think on the shell, the red shell, did some cool, after, painting it, did some darker lines and stuff like that, that when you look really close in the picture that I used as a reference, you could see all those things, I think when you just imagine a ladybug in your head, you don't realize how many different colors are in that shell, or how shiny the shell is and stuff like that. And so it was fun to try to get as realistic as I could with making this one and stuff. So I had a good time. I think that if I had to do anything differently, I think I would remember, for some reason, I always like to forget to, when watercolor, to me, it always looks better and deeper color when the more layers you do. And for some reason, I'll put on a layer and I want to keep messing with it instead of letting it dry and then going on with the next one. And it's like every piece I do, I continue to do that, and I've got to just stop myself, let it dry, and come back again, because I always want to keep messing with it before I let it dry. And so I think the more I remember to do that, the better the outcome is for the most part. This one was a cool piece, though. So I had fun painting this one. I've got, like I said, I've got a couple other little scrap pieces of arches that have kind of rounded the corners. If anybody has got any good ideas on what should be the next subject that to paint, um, comment below. And if while we're talking about it, go ahead and don't forget to like as you comment below and subscribe. I'll continue to have more discussions on the channel and maybe some art tutorials and stuff. And so I am going to put some music on in the background while you finish off the painting. But keep creating. I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me today. And I hope our little discussion encourages you to pick up the brush, start that project, and share your work with the world. Thank you.